thank you for coming out on Friday night. I know that you all could be at movies, you all could be out having a nice dinner, but thank you for waiting for just a little bit. And Gregory Parker, I wish you the best. There is not an issue more near and dear to my heart, and I told him this before he came up because I happened to be in Kyoto, Japan in 1997 when that infamous Kyoto Protocol was written, and have been fighting it around the globe ever since. And so I really appreciate the work that you're doing, and someone needs to stand up and speak out because it is a hoax. And you know, one of the reasons I was told that I lost in that election last summer, which, let me just tell you, I loved doing the job and I was happy every day, but I love doing what I'm doing now and I'm happy every day. It's just, you know, it's all part of just being part of Jesus' kingdom for me. Amen. You know, so, you know, so anyway, that's all behind me, and I've been told, though, that I was just too much of an activist. And you know, if there is a compliment that someone can pay me, that's it. And so I love it. So now on with this topic of the evening, and I think it's extremely important that we have a proper context for such an important issue of Agenda 21. And we need to back up to 1972, when there was an Earth Summit. And the Secretary General of that Earth Summit was Maurice Strong. Then 20 years later, so you could really say Stockholm plus 20, was Rio de Janeiro, the 1992 meeting, and again, the Secretary General of that meeting was Maurice Strong. And then in 2002, in Johannesburg, South Africa, there was another Earth Summit. Well, the biggie is coming next year in June. We're returning to Rio for Rio plus 20. So you can see how we really could be looking at a 40-year plan here that is drawing to a close. And one of the meetings that I do hope to attend, and I do have a ticket for, and I've run out of my frequent flyer miles for this, but in Durban, South Africa this December, it's going to be another climate change meeting. And most interesting there, they're hoping to gain approval for a new Green Climate Fund. That Green Climate Fund is a global tax. Now, those of us who are concealed handgun license owners like to say, at the point of my gun, they'll take a tax from the UN. Well, unfortunately, the United Nations knows how to do things much more indirectly. And so what they're considering at this point is a tax on either international shipping or international aviation. So these are just extra things that I'm throwing in because I think that this is a topic that is like trying to nail Jell-O to a wall. And the more you understand about the whole scene, the easier it is for you to be able to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Well, that doesn't seem to want to work. Let's see about this. Aha. Okay. You've already been introduced to Maurice Strong. Maurice Strong is a Canadian, and he is a man of very strong convictions. He grew up in a poor home, and as a result of that, instead of having a life like I have had and many of you, where you grow up in a poor home, you get an education, you work hard, and you live better than your parents did. And in his case, however, he thought what we needed was social justice. That is the modern day way of putting Marxism. Redistributing wealth. The reason why people are wealthy, according to this philosophy, is because they took it from somebody else. It is not because people get an education and work hard. As a matter of fact, you can see here one quote from Maurice Strong where he says, current lifestyles and consumption patterns of the affluent middle class. You see, it's not even the affluent upper class, it's the middle class, it's you and me that they're targeting. The affluent middle class involving high meat intake, and as a Texan they're going to take away our T-bone steaks, I don't think so. The use of fossil fuels, just like Commissioner Parker was talking about. Appliances, who's going to get rid of their refrigerator? No, thank you. Home and work air conditioning, oh, come on. And suburban housing is not sustainable. Now, we will get more to sustainable development in just a moment. But this man is so far left that he and Mikhail Gorbachev are very good friends. And both of them are sponsors of something called an Earth Charter. Now, when I was in Johannesburg in 2002, just to let you know how radical that document is, there was an artist who created an ark, like the Ark of the Covenant, that those of us as Jews and Christians understand that the law of Moses was put in. So the Earth Charter is a document, and I love the way Rush Limbaugh puts it. This issue to them is a religion. It's a religion. So it's very fitting that they would be of this ilk. So I hope you understand the thinking of this man who's behind it all, Maurice Strong. Here is a picture of social justice. This is a picture I took of a girl's t-shirt in Cancun, Mexico last December at the latest UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. And it says, liberate the soil, undam the rivers, free the people, unplug the empire. What empire do you think they're trying to unplug? Of course it's us. It's Western civilization. That girl was an American girl. She's been brainwashed. Guess how she got brainwashed? Anybody heard of John Kerry, the man who went to Vietnam? Yes. Well, John Kerry and his wife were in Rio de Janeiro in 1992, and you're going to hear more about this. But as I say, you're going to have to hear this a few times from a different perspective each time so that you can own it, and then you know how best to go from there. But John Kerry and his wife were in Rio de Janeiro in 1992, and they came away saying, we have got to take over the education system of America. And so what they did is they went to universities and they had high-dollar events for chancellors of universities. And when those chancellors came and were wined and dined and heard about sustainable development and how we're all going to die, don't you know? Because just like Commissioner Parker said, we are so arrogant that we think that we can control the weather. And so that is what John Kerry and his rich wife decided, that they would convince these university professors that they have now implemented policies in their universities, and then those little graduates from those universities are going into our high schools and our elementary schools and even our preschools, and they're scaring our children. And that is exactly the face of what we're looking at out there today. That's why this girl would put on such a shirt as that one for social justice. Well, where did this whole idea of sustainable development first come from? It came from the Brundtland Commission. Anyone watch Glenn Beck? I love Justin, I loved your posting that on your Facebook so that I could catch up today with what I did not see last night. Anyway, in 1987, Gro Harlem Brundtland was the chairman of a commission, and you see the first Earth Summit in 1972, and it lay dormant, and they just couldn't have that. So they had this Brundtland Commission called the World Commission on Environment and Development in order to stoke the fires. And she is the one then at this convention who came up with this phrase, sustainable development, which you can just actually understand it well for those of us who went to school back in the Dark Ages as Marxism. And so what she said at that convention was, changing the attitudes of people everywhere is a fundamental prerequisite if the priorities of human society and therefore of human government are to be rewritten. How clear can you get? They want to rewrite